What's up and good morning, everybody? It's your boy Dave Mo. Today's video I want to talk about this kind of trending topic right now, where if you Google search, how to give your car back or how to return a repo car, or you just don't want your car anymore, etc., etc. We can certainly get into that, and one of the easiest ways to do that. Well, before we even get into that, here. Short and sweet. You want to give your car back? Call the bank. Tell the bank, hey, listen, I'm not paying for this car anymore. Do you want me to drop it off at a repo yard? Repo yards get paid to repossess cars. A repo yard will be happy as hell to have someone drop their car off for them. They don't have to send someone out to go get it. They don't got to pay the repo man. The business in of itself will make the money. But there's a few things that we should talk about prior to you doing that. Number one, accountability. Let me just say accountability. Right now this country wants to be blaming the banks. Oh, the car dealers, they were raising the prices, 30, 40, 50% over MSRP. Which, by the way, MSRP stands for manufacturer's suggested retail price. It doesn't mean that that's what the car is. That's what the manufacturer says, hey, we think you guys should sell this car for this price. When I own it, it's up to me to sell it for what I want to sell it for. All right? That's number one. Number two, I know anyone who's not a car dealer that's watching this, in my opinion, the problem with this society right now today is accountability, lack thereof. You've seen how much the car was. They didn't lie to you. This wasn't a bait and switch tactic. You could see videos all day right now, like from the car questions answered fucking jerk off who goes out there. I mean, sweet guy though, right? But he goes out there, oh, look, this is this. It's on the fucking sticker, guys. It says MSRP and then what they have it marked up to. During COVID, okay, during that time, there was a shortage of vehicles. If you were an individual who was like, oh, well, I'm getting stimulus money, I can go out and buy a car, I'll pay over, I don't care, it's free money. Congratulations. You played yourself. Congratulations. All right? You, at some point, should have said, I'm not paying for that. You should have kept the car you were driving and not got into a car payment that you know your finances. The car dealership doesn't know your finances. The bank doesn't know your finances. The bank, here's what the bank knows. The bank knows your credit score and how much you bring in. It might know your rent. It doesn't ask you, it's not like a mortgage. When you go get the mortgage, it wants to know your debt to income ratio and how much you're paying and what you're paying for, okay? They don't care about that stuff with cars. It's weird, but they don't. So everyone wants to blame the banks. Like, oh, well, the banks was lending out all this money. Of course they were. Of course they were. It's how they make money. Oh, well, good, fuck them then, because right now they're feeling the hurt. Are they feeling the hurt? Yes. Do you think you think they're going to bounce back faster than the American people? Or do you think the American people will have a harder time bouncing back than these banks? Because I can tell you right now, the banks are still selling cars. They're still issuing car loans, okay? So let's just say, for instance, you have, and I've seen oh, look at these Chargers. Every Charger's being repossessed. I hate to say it, guys. When you sell the most of any car, that's usually the car that's going to be the most repossessed. It's just like, I don't understand your logic here. Unless you're trying to say that there's a certain color of people that buy those cars, or you're trying to say a lower economic individuals buy those cars. If that's what you're trying to say without saying it, then you're a jerk off, quite frankly. But here's the deal. And again, you have F-150, right? America's most popular pickup truck. But those trucks, generally speaking, are being used for work. Exceptions to the rule, platinums, lariats, etc., stuff like that. And even lariats, I've seen them on work sites before, and not the foreman. Because as long as you keep the inside looking good, you only putting stuff in the bed, the truck is still a good looking truck. But back to what I was saying. So the bank's going to take that car from you. They're going to sell it at the auction, and they're going to get back whatever. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you owe 20, or you owe 30. They sold it for 17. You're still on the hook for $13,000. Okay, $13,000, where the bank is still saying to you, like, hey, we sold that car. We only got 17. You owe us 13. You need to continue to pay us. And you're going to say, well, I'm not paying for something I don't have. Fair enough. Fair enough. I get where you're going with this. So you're not going to pay for something that you don't have. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to attack your credit. Not we. The banks are going to attack your credit. Okay, who cares, right? Obviously, you have a repo, so you don't care about your credit. And you're probably not smart enough to know that much about credit because you took out a car that you can't afford. Exceptions to the rule. You lost your job. Something happened. Those are unforeseen circumstances. I'm sure those people are scrambling right now to figure out a way to save whatever little bit of their credit they have left. But if you're an individual who doesn't care anyway, it doesn't matter, send your car back. What they'll end up doing is eventually writing it off. In your taxes, it'll show up as a $13,000 income that you're going to have to pay taxes on anyway. And given 20% of $1,300, you're looking at an additional $2,600 that you're going to owe, because it's not like your employer that took out taxes throughout the year and then you get some credits, whether it's solar panels or child or whatever it is that you do. It's just going to be pure billing, right? It's $2,600. Again, 20% on $13,000 is $2,600. And you never even received that $13,000. And you ruined your credit. So, in the housing market, we have this thing that you can do. It's called short sale, where you can call your bank and you can say, hey, listen, I know I owe this amount. I can't afford the house anymore. If I can sell the house for XYZ, which is under what you owe, some banks will say, okay, if you could sell the house for this price, we don't have to go through the foreclosure process. We don't have to, do any repairs to the house. We don't have to sell it. Basically, they're not responsible for the home. And you can handle all this on your own. Whatever you sell the house for, we will take. And then we won't hurt your credit. We'll just let you walk away from the house. Now, granted, in that situation, you may also end up with a tax bill at the end of the year, because the bank could potentially say, to protect themselves, because they have to write it off, say, hey, look, this is what we should have gotten. We're giving it to you. You don't owe us anymore. But technically speaking, that's income, which for some of us that have not been watching the news, that's what certain states are starting to do with student loan debt. So if you're certain states, if you get your student loan debt, I'm trying to figure out the right word because they change these words all the time, but let's just say forgiven. If you get your student loan forgiven, they're looking at that as earned income. Certain states, and you're being taxed, income tax on that. But here's what you need to do now. So let's just say you got out of the vehicle. You're out of your car right now. What you need to do is figure out how much money you have in the bank and go buy yourself a little fucking, a bucket. Get yourself a little hoopty. I'm driving like a 06 Surface Rust Corolla every day back and forth to work. You can pick these things up all day long but this thing's got 250,000 miles. You can pick this thing up all day long for under $2,500, under $3,000. You could get a really nice one for over, like $3,500, low mileage. As a matter of fact, I have a 2002 Honda Accord right now with 75,000 miles documented, no odometer rollback, nothing along those lines. I'm selling it for $3,500. You need to look for cars like that. Not my car. I don't sell cars to subscribers. Not my, so you want to take whatever money you have and buy a car that's going to last you hopefully for the next 5 to 10 years. And you want to get it for the low, because now is going to be the time where you need to start to rebuild. You need to rebuild, 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 rebuild. And that's the truth of the matter. In terms of you not wanting your car anymore, no matter what, it's a repossession. So if you've called the bank and they're like, hey, you're stuck with it, you're not stuck with it. Well, that's your only phone call you can make, is you call the bank and you figure out what they're going to tell you what to do with the vehicle. They might even adjust your loan and add more months to it to try to make it more affordable for you. But you have to keep in mind that's probably gonna stretch out the interest rate, maybe even raise it. And on top of that, you're just spending more money in something that's going to depreciate and continue to depreciate, especially if you have like like a SUV, like one of these luxury SUVs, like Escalades or G-Wagons or anything on those lines. They're dropping faster than a ton of bricks. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you might save your credit, but at the same token, you're going to spend a lot of money to do it. But again, at the end of the day, credit is that. We all buy our credit. Whether or not you want to admit it, we're buying our credit. We start out as, young people, and young credit, right? And we get credit cards at 28, 29, 24, 25% interest, and we use it. Our credit starts to get better. We open up another credit card with another bank who's like, okay, we'll do it at 19 based on your credit. Okay, we do that for a little while, then we go somewhere else, and hopefully one day you end up below the 10s. And then I feel like once you get below the 10s, you're golden. I do have credit cards still that charge me 24.9% interest, which in all honesty, it doesn't bother me because I pay off my credit 100% once, the bill comes in, boom, done, it's over. So you can charge me whatever the fuck you want. I'm going to pay you anyway. But, moral of the story is, if you call the bank and they don't want to do anything with it, and now you don't know about the repo company, because if the bank hasn't put it up for repo, the repo company can't take it. I mean, they could take it, but then all they're doing is having the car sit there while you're still on the hook for every single month that it's sitting before the bank says, hey, we need to repossess this car. So if you find yourself in a situation where no one is going to help you, help yourself, okay? And again, this is not financial advice. This is me just talking, okay? If it was me and I no longer wanted this car anymore, okay? I called the bank. I'm like, look, I can't afford the payments. I'm not going to make the payments. You can come get your car. And they're like, no, we're not going to come get it. I'm going to say, okay, no problem. I'm going to know eventually my car is going to go up for repo. I will continue to, in all honesty, at this point, I'd probably, to save as much money as I can, I'd probably drop the insurance to the bare minimum. So if I got pulled over, I have insurance. Or on the other hand, I would keep the insurance what it is. So if, God forbid, I got into an accident, at least that way the car gets paid off and I don't have to worry about it, right? Okay, so that's that. Number two, if I'm not going to make payments on the car anyway, then I'm not going to make payments on the car. What I'm not going to do is not make payments on the car and then go out and spend that money. So if I'm paying $500 for the car, I'm going to take, and I'm not going to make payments, I'm going to take that $500, I'm going to put it into a separate bank account. Boom. Boom, boom. The car doesn't go up for repo for 6 months. So that means 6 months you've been driving a car for free, okay? So now you got $3,000, so you can buy your bucket. When they come and repossess that car, you can buy your bucket because you've already saved up enough money. If it takes them a year, even better. If it takes them a year, at $500, you got $6,000 cash money that you can just go buy a really nice used vehicle. The key is discipline. Accountability is the lack of accountability is what got you in this situation. And responsibility is going to be what gets you out of it. Okay. You got to make conscious decisions. I'm not going to pay for the car anymore. I'm going to put the money into the bank. I'm going to leave it in that account. And I'm not going to go on cruises. I'm not going to go buy my new bag. I'm not going to go buy a new firearm. That money is in there, so when they repossess this car, I can quickly jump into something else. Okay, great. And that's it, guys. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't rocket science. You know who you make payments to. Call the bank and negotiate. If they don't want to negotiate and you're done making the payments, then just stop making the payments, but save up that money. I knew people. I was dating this woman years ago, and she was spending like, I think $1,500 a month on her mortgage, and she just was gonna foreclose on the house. Like she just didn't want the house anymore, or what? I don't know exactly what happened, but I knew that the house was coming up for foreclosure. And I had said, I was like, well, are you putting the rent, or I'm sorry, are you putting the mortgage? Not even the mortgage. It's actually a mortgage. You don't have to air quote mortgage. It's a mortgage. Are you putting the mortgage payment into a separate account and letting that build up? And she said, yeah. Because I knew once they foreclose and they evict her, she will have to go get an apartment and probably get furniture depending on what she's doing. And usually at that point, people are selling their furniture. For instance, if you have rims on your car, you're probably gonna want to take them off, sell the rims, make some money there. A bunch of different things you could do. I mean, I've seen cars where they've sold the motor, the transmission, the radio, the interior, the door panels, the wheels. So when they're coming through the auction, there is nothing there. They're not even going through a regular auction. They're going to like the TRA sale or one of these salvage auctions, right? Because the owner of that vehicle was like, well, screw it. They're going to ruin my credit anyway, so I might as well sell it for whatever I can, you know? And depending on the vehicle, you get what you get. But anyway, they came and took the house. She had to get, she got evicted. They told her to get out. The process took about a year and a half. And I'm thinking, okay, great. So, you got $18,000, minimum $18,000 in the bank. That's 1 year of payments. You could do another 9 for the 6 months. So you're looking at like, what are you looking at? 27,000, give or take. She had nothing. She had fucking nothing, bro. Like, when they came in, I was like, all right, no big deal. Just go ahead, get yourself situated somewhere else. But at this point, we're not dating anymore. We're barely even friends. I'm like, go ahead, just go get yourself something else, and that's it. You made all this money, not a big deal. But she had nothing. She ended up having to go live with her son in Jersey. Like, what are you thinking at this point? You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, I hope I explained it to you somewhat better. There may be programs that certain banks have for you to return your car. For instance, if I'm a bank or if I'm from a bank, I'm going to make deals with dealerships and say, hey, this individual has a good condition vehicle. Would you guys be interested in potentially taking that car on for this dollar amount, and then we can sell it, and the person who owns it and the bank can work something out, right? So the bank doesn't actually lose, but more importantly, maybe they don't attack your credit. So with that being said, the first thing is just call the bank and try to figure it out from there. Anyway, guys, I'm Dave Mo. I hope this video is helpful. And if you do find yourself in a situation, I really, really, really hope you're going to learn to make better decisions, okay? I do have a car dealership. I do finance cars. And I can tell you right now, as a person who finances cars through a bank and who owns a car dealership, I've never, ever in my whole life financed a car. I've never at one time seen some lying. Sometimes you will get what's called the same as cash. Okay, same as cash. So you can finance that car. Let's just say that car is $60,000. There's no interest, so it's same as cash. So basically, they're just not making money on your loan. And you're probably asking, well, how does that work? Well, two ways. Number one, they're selling a car. Number two, if you are to miss a payment or be late on a payment, that payment will, moving forward, you'll now have an interest rate. So they're banking on the fact that you will mess up and miss a payment or make a payment late, where they can then say, hey, you were late. Per our contract, you now owe us 10% interest monthly. Woohoo! We win. So that's the only time that you would ever catch me trying to finance a car, because it just makes sense. Like, why would I spend my money when I could spend your money and the outcome is the same? But with the way the market's going and how fast these new cars are dropping, it just doesn't make sense to me to even get a new car anymore. It never really did. I don't know how people do it, how people are saying, you know, hey, I'm going to get a new car. Everyone and their mother knows once you pull off the lot, you've already depreciated the car by at least 10%, right? So why would anyone do that? Why would someone say, hey, I'm going to put $40,000 and buy a $40,000 car and try to sell it the next day, and it's only worth $36,000 if you're lucky? So anyway, I ramble. I'll talk to you guys later, guys. Have a good day. We're out of here.